Good morning. It's Thursday morning, April the 9th. Today is the day we call Maundy Thursday. We had planned to have a service here this evening. The Orangewood Presbyterian Church was going to join us. We were expecting a large group. Maundy Thursday remembers the night when Jesus gathered with his disciples in the upper room, the eve of his death. And I'd like to read you the passage we would read if we were meeting. We've read every year from the Gospel of John, chapter 13. Now, before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. Then a little later, Jesus is speaking to them. You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. And then skipping down a little later in the same chapter. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Jesus has loved us. He loved those disciples in a very practical way by washing their feet, which is a picture of the more radical thing that he did in laying down his very life on the cross so that we might be saved from sin. But he says, I want you to wash one another's feet. I've given you an example. I've set the pattern for your life as my disciples. And he makes it very plain. This is a new commandment, that you love one another. That's how the world will know that you belong to me, that you are my disciples, if you love one another. It's a strange situation we're in these days. One of the ways that we love one another is to keep distance, to not visit, to not get too close. It's the strangest situation that we're in. One way that we love one another as a church right now is not to meet. But there are still other practical ways we can love one another. Of course, we can pray. We can pray for those who are anxious, pray for those who are sick, pray for those who are struggling financially, who are going to have a hard time paying their bills. So praying is one way that we love one another. But I think also, even though we aren't physically close, because of the technology that has been given to us, we have so many ways that we can connect. We can do something as old-fashioned as writing a card, send an email, make a phone call, and reach out. We can ask one another, how is it going really? How can I pray for you? What's going on with you? How is your health? Do you have the things that you need at this time? So it's Maundy Thursday, and it's good to be reminded of what our Lord Jesus Christ has done for us, but also of his commandment that we love one another.